Hello there, First Weekend Club listeners. My name is Catherine Brodsky, and today I'm going to be chatting with Brent Butt, star, writer, and producer of Corner Gas, the movie, not to mention an all-around funny man. From December 3rd to 7th, for an exclusive 5-day engagement, Corner Gas is going to be hitting 90 Cineplex theaters across Canada. So we've caught up with Brent to talk a little bit about the making of the movie and what audiences can expect from the Corner Gas experience. Corner Gas, that was a very successful Canadian show, and you had 6 seasons, which is pretty uncommon as far as I understand for shows. It's even, whether they're Canadian or American shows, that's quite an achievement. So about 5 years after your season finale, you've got Corner Gas, the movie. So what was that journey like? How did you decide to, sort of get the gang back together? Did somebody just get drunk one night and said, hey, why don't we make a movie?
Oh, it wasn't just one night.
Oh.
No, that's not how it came together at all. The notion was, right from the time that we wrapped up the series, I liked the idea of, it was on my radar screen to see if we could come back and do a movie at some point in the future. I didn't know when, but, I liked the idea of revisiting this one more time and making it a theatrical experience. So that was always kind of on my radar. And then it was just a matter of, taking a bit of a break. Everybody went and did separate things and all lived our lives. And then I kind of got to the point where I was thinking, okay, well, if we are going to do a movie, we can't wait too long because it would just get kind of old and weird and sad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's start thinking about this because, I didn't want to just do a movie for the sake of doing a movie. I only wanted to do it if I felt like we could do it right. So that starts with the story. So I got together with a couple of the guys who wrote on the series with me, and we started kicking around story ideas. And it was, coming up with story ideas was okay, but the trick was to see if we could make the script work and feel right, because it's a tricky procedure to take a known product that's 22 minutes long and has a known rhythm and a known pace and known characters and expected kind of small storylines, which we did on the TV show, and translate that into take all that worked, but make it 90 minutes. It's a very difficult, tricky thing to do. And it was tough. And we wrote on the movie for about a year and a half before I felt like, okay, this is going to work. It took about a year and a half of writing drafts of the movie before, and correcting what wasn't working before I felt like, okay, this could really work. Let's phone the cast and see if they're into it.
Well, it must have been really hard to get everybody's schedules in sync. That must have involved a lot of bribery, and I don't know how you did it.
Bribery, but yeah, it was kind of tricky because people were doing other things, and some people they wanted to do the movie. They were keen to do it, and they actually moved some other projects that they were doing, and but every person that we called in the cast, everybody said, yeah, I'd love to do this. I was hoping that you'd call.
Right. I've been waiting by the phone, crying, waiting.
Well, I wouldn't, like I said, everybody's off doing other stuff. There's theater and TV shows and movies. But I think everybody liked this idea of coming back one more time and hoped that it would happen.
Well, and also, I guess you shot it over about a period of a month. So is that part of, because you had such a limited amount with the cast where everybody was available at the same time?
Not so much that. Doing a Canadian feature film on this budget, you can only do about 22, 23 days at the most. And we shot for 21 days with the cast. So, that's a fast turnaround, but it's not uncommon for... that's a fast shoot, but it's not uncommon for a movie of this budget. It's really a big part of any budget spend is just how many days are you shooting, because you have such a big crew, so many people are employed, that every day of labor costs a lot of money. So you just got to figure out a way to do it in that window of time.
Well, and also you have a little bit of a fringe benefit that everybody already knows their characters so well and the tone of it, so you don't have to spend a lot of time establishing it, unlike if you were starting from scratch.
Yeah, and we didn't have to do much in the way of location shoot, because location scouting, because we knew where we were shooting, we knew the town, and we had to spruce up the gas station because it had been sitting for a long time, and it was never built to last. That set, that Corner Gas gas station, it wasn't built as a building; it was built as a temporary set, and so it wasn't built to survive 10 Saskatchewan winters. So we had to keep going back, and even when it was just sitting there and, not doing anything, we had to put money into it to spruce it up and keep it going.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit about the story in Corner Gas, the movie. I hear basically the gang is about to face their biggest crisis ever. So what's kind of the elevator pitch of it?
It's a group of people who are kind of on the precipice of deciding whether to allow their small little town that they've lived in their whole lives, that they've loved, watch it die and roll up the sidewalks and everybody go their separate ways and let it become a ghost town, or are they going to dig in their heels and try and fight to save the life that they know and love? And it's kind of a story that a lot of rural communities are going to be able to relate to, because this is going on right now across the country. There are a lot of small communities where, 400 to 800 people have made their lives for a number of generations that kind of aren't viable anymore. So it's a story that's actually going on in the world right now.
And in Saskatchewan, especially with the film industry there too, that's also part of it.
There's a film industry here?
Well, there was. That's what I meant.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's, of course, being in the business, I was sad to see, and just knowing so many incredibly talented crew members here that, a lot of them had to pack up their families and move somewhere else because they couldn't make a living here anymore. Once the film tax credit was gone, nobody was coming here to make movies or TV shows anymore. So,
well, except you guys.
It's, yeah. So we were able to, because Corner Gas is really such a postcard for Saskatchewan, we were able to talk to Tourism Saskatchewan about coming and participating, investing in the project, and Creative Saskatchewan. And because it really is, it would have been very weird to do this somewhere else. This is, as much as I always say, this isn't, Corner Gas was never a show about Saskatchewan. It was about these people. They just happened to live in Saskatchewan. But the backdrop is undeniably Saskatchewan, and it is a showcase for the province.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the challenges with making a TV show into film is that it could feel like a TV show. So what is it that, what is it about it that makes it feel like a film versus a very, very long episode of a TV show?
Yeah, it's just kind of, the main thing is raising the stakes a little bit and having time to allow the characters to, respond kind of on an emotional level that we never really had time to on the show before. So there are some, there are a lot of laughs in this movie. It's a very funny movie, and, getting to sit with a live audience and hear them respond and laugh at the jokes is very gratifying. But there's also a lot of moments in this movie that are, a little deeper, a little more human. There's some very nice, touching moments. There's some high drama. There's some action that we never got to see in the show. So, there's explosions. There's fights. There's a lot of stuff going on that is just a little more cinematic and just a little bigger. And like I said, that was the trick from the beginning, was to deliver a script that felt cinematic, but still felt like Corner Gas, and vice versa. So that was the tricky part. But the good news is I really feel like we nailed it, and the response from it's been great. Lauren and I were laughing yesterday because there were a number of people who came up and said, "I didn't know if this would work." They were like relieved. They were so happy that this actually works as a movie. I didn't know if it would.
It's a great compliment. I'm relieved.
Yeah, well, we've had people just say that. This is better than I thought it was going to be.
Well, you had me at explosions, so.
Hey, Well, I mean, we have a robot fight a werewolf. What else you want in a movie?
Wow, a robot fighting a werewolf? That is it. That's all you had to say, I think. That's
one
amazing.
One of the gags in the TV show was an ongoing argument about who would win in a fight between a robot or a werewolf. And so we had this notion of seeing if we could make that happen in the movie. And it was part of the Kickstarter project, was saying, look, this movie's funded. We're going to make this movie, but if we can raise a few extra bucks, we want to have a robot fight a werewolf and make it look good.
Who got to keep the robot?
Well, I can't go into detail without giving too much away.
Oh, okay. Well, then people
Just know
really
this.
have to see
There's
the
a robot,
movie.
and there's a werewolf, and there's some fighting.
That's awesome. And there was a corner gas sign that apparently survived through all those 10 harsh winters. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sorry, the sign?
The corner gas sign. I heard that.
Yeah. Well, the corner gas sign itself was taken down, and it lived for the 6 years that we weren't doing the movie in the CTV offices in Toronto. So it was warm and cozy in the corporate headquarters of Bell Media.
Awesome.
And then when we were going to do the movie, we had to get them to take it down, pack it up, and ship it to us.
They shipped a sign.
Yeah, and it's already back in Toronto at the CTV headquarters.
Ah, okay. And
they have a boardroom at CTV that's called the Corn Gas Boardroom.
Wow, that's a lot of shady business must go down there.
No doubt.
It has to be.
Crop futures.
Yeah, it has to live up to the sign. And did you, in terms of when you're adjusting the TV show, making it into a movie, did you also have to adjust some of the acting and the style of writing?
Well, not so much with the acting, because everybody knew their characters so well and fell into it very easily and naturally. But it's just a matter of they get to do a few more things emotionally that they didn't get to do before. So it's kind of fun to see the characters that you know and are familiar with getting into a situation where they're responding emotionally in a way that you've never seen before. Because we just never dealt with anything, we never delved too deep in the TV show. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of fun to see.
And what do you think it is that made Corner Gas so successful as a show, that people are still so excited about it?
Yeah, I wish I knew for sure, because then I would just, if I had the recipe, I would just keep, making hit shows week after week if it was just a recipe. So there's some intangible things in there, but I always go back to thinking that there's kind of an authenticity to Corner Gas that I think people responded to. But by authenticity, I just mean that, we went into this thinking nobody was going to watch. So let's just make a show that we really like and that entertains us and that we're proud of, because what the hell, somehow we got the opportunity to make this movie or this TV show this summer, and we're all going to go our separate ways because it'll be canceled after that. And, people are pretty savvy. People know when they're being sold. And I think with Corner Gas, they could tell that we weren't selling them anything because we didn't think anybody was watching. We really just made a show we were proud of. And I think we also came along at a time when there was a lot of, shows that were obsessed with being dark and edgy. That you'd hear that in promos all the time. This show is edgy. Everybody was talking about how edgy their show was. And I always said, people telling you they're edgy is like your drunk uncle telling you he's cool. You go, yeah, okay, all right, you're cool. I felt like saying that to these people with these dark, edgy shows. It's like, I don't know how edgy or dark that is. It's dark because it's not lit well, but other than that, you're not scaring anybody or proving anything.
Right.
So Corner Gas was kind of refreshing. It was bright. It was not trying to be anything. We weren't trying to be cool. We weren't trying to be hip. We didn't care if we were. We just hoped we were funny.
But even as you even as you became more popular and you got more and more seasons, it didn't seem to change. So you weren't tainted. You didn't have the pressure to become edgy and dark somehow.
Yeah, well, it was working, right? It was if something's working, you don't have a motivation to change it.
What makes you laugh?
All
Brent
kinds
Butt?
of stuff. All kinds of stuff. I mean, I really love wordplay. I really love when somebody comes up with a phrase, or I mean, Letterman can do that to me. I'm amazed. All the years I've been watching Letterman, I don't think there's ever been an episode where he hasn't said a phrase and just have it tumble out of his face naturally and effortlessly. And, nobody's ever put those words together in that order before. And he's so amazing at that. And that will always make me laugh. But really, I like when somebody comes up with an original. I love when I'm watching a stand-up and I say, if you gave me a million years, I wouldn't have thought of that angle that person just came up with. I love those moments because often, as a comic, being a stand-up, you have to be a bit of a craftsman, and you get to a point where you can kind of see stuff coming sometimes. And I love when somebody just does or says something that you go, man, not only did I not see that coming, I would never see that coming. If you let me investigate that setup for 10 years, I wouldn't see that punchline.
That's great. And
I also like goofy stuff. When somebody gets bonked in the head, I crack up.
Or falls through a manhole.
I can't put parameters on it.
There's no boundaries with comedy.
Yeah. As long as it's, that's one of the great things about comedy and about funny is that we don't know why it works. Scientists don't know why it works. Psychologists don't know why it works. And anybody who tells you that they know how or why it works is full of it. They don't. I don't care. I've heard people say they have a PhD in humor. That makes me laugh.
But not for the reasons they're hoping.
Yeah, it's like you. I guess if you have a PhD in comedy, like you want to say to these people, when have you ever said or done anything that's made anybody laugh? Because you can just tell they don't. They never have. They never will.
And you think they actually have like degrees in humor? There's a thing?
It's shifty, but there's out there,
Oh my God! From accredited facilities? Wow, it's crazy. Well, corner gas is getting a very, very unique treatment in terms of how people are going to be able to see it. So it's opening December 3rd to 7th, I believe, at select Cineplex and Landmark theaters across the country. And then there's sort of an exclusive in-theater experience for moviegoers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like you said, December 3rd through 7th, 5 days only, no matter how well or how poorly it does in theaters. It's going to be in Cineplex theaters and a few independent theaters across I think there's close to or over 100 theaters now. So it's a pretty wide release, but we know it's only going to be 5 days, and then it'll start broadcasting. But if you go to the theater, there's a few added benefits. One is, when you go to a theater and they'll have like a kind of a warm-up show with trivia and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cineplex asked us to make a 20-minute dedicated corner gas warm-up show. So it's that same kind of thing, that trivia, but it's all corner gas related. I'm hosting it. So it's kind of this 20-minute featurette that plays before the movie. It's kind of fun, and people seem to really enjoy it last night in Saskatchewan. And then at the end, because it's a movie and you have a bit more time and you're not tied into a broadcast schedule, we were able to involve a bunch of the Kickstarters in the closing credits. And there's blooper reels in the closing credits, and you get to see people from all over the world singing the Corner Gas theme song. We had people record themselves and upload video of themselves singing the theme song, and we traveled around with this Corner Gas booth where you could sit in the booth and sing along to the theme song. And so that's cut into a big mosaic, and it's really fun seeing that with a room full of people was a delight. And I don't use the word delight very often.
Well, it sounds really delightful, and I don't use that word very often either. But I think so. It's great because people can really get that theater experience, and it's very motivating to go to a movie theater, in the middle of winter.
And
for a warm, fuzzy feeling.
Seeing Saskatchewan on the big screen is jaw-dropping. There are some shots of Saskatchewan, because it's a movie and we had a bit more of a budget, we had some toys that we'd never had in the series. You get to see Dog River, you see the drone flying up above, and you see the town from an aerial view you've never seen before. Beautiful sunrises and sunsets. I mean, it's really stunning. And seeing that on a big full-size movie screen, it's, what it is. It's delightful.
It's delightful. So, well, thank you so much for talking with First Weekend Club, and we really hope that you have a great Corner Gas movie premiere, 5-day only engagement.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for all you guys do, over there at the First Weekend Club. I think it's very cool what you guys do. Cool and important. So awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I am holding my thumbs up, even though you can't see it, because I'm delighted. Thank you so much, Brent. I really appreciate it. And there you have it. Don't miss Corner Gas the movie at theaters December 3rd till 7, 5 days only. For more information, visit firstweekendclub.ca. See you at the movies.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.